Third down and 20.
Third and 20 power rankings. First time we're doing this. Me and Steed, we're coming out. We're going to have our third and 20 power rankings. Lunas, you can comment on them, who you think is too high and who you think is too low. I'm going to start off. All right, you ready for this, Steed?
Yeah.
Or do you want to just go like, 1, 1, 2, 2? You want to do it like that?
Yeah, we can do it like that. Let's do that.
All right, number 1. Pittsburgh Steelers, baby.
I figured that. I still got the Chiefs at 1.
All right, well, surprise, surprise. I wonder who you have at number 2, because I have Kansas City, and I.
Yeah, I got the Bucks. No, I'm just playing. I got the Steelers at
2. I can also imagine who you have at number 3. I have the New Orleans Saints at number 3.
Yeah, I got the Aints at 3.
Now, here's where it gets a little interesting. And I mean, the first 3.
This is tough.
The first 3, there really is no explanation needed for them. I think generally everyone has the consensus top 3. Number 4, I have the Seattle Seahawks, which may come as a surprise to some people given how bad their defense has been. But after that Cardinals game, I think that this defense is figuring some things out. And the fact of the matter is the Seahawks have either the number 1 or number 2 quarterback. You can argue Patrick Mahomes, you can argue Russell Wilson, but with Russell Wilson as your quarterback, they have the talent to beat any football team in the NFL on any given day and in the playoffs. It doesn't matter who they're playing. With Russell Wilson as your quarterback and with guys like DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, they'll be in any football game. And if the Seahawks are able to get guys like Chris Carson back and healthy heading into the playoffs and a defense that is not historically bad against the pass, this is a scary team. And I think that they will be easily one of the most feared teams coming into the playoffs on the NFC side.
Plus, Dunlap has been a huge trade for them, too. He's been going on since he's been there. At 4, I think this might shock some people, but I got the Rams at 4. The Rams control their destiny in the NFC West. They've won huge games week in, week out, and we saw Jared Goff last night play extremely well, hitting Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods, and their defense is still elite. And also, the Rams, the road to the Super Bowl is just them leading in halftime. Under McVay, if they have a lead at halftime, they are 32-0.
All right, well, for me at number 5, I have my Super Bowl winner at the beginning of the season. I have the Indianapolis Colts. We've seen Phillip Rivers. It doesn't matter what the receivers are. He's finally getting into that groove. We've seen this running back by committee really work for them instead of trying to lean on Jonathan Taylor. And that defense, I don't really think I need to say much. They are a top-tier group. That linebacking core is scary against the run and against the pass. And that rookie they have, Blackman or Blankenship or whatever, something like that. Not the kicker.
There we go. Hot Rod?
No, not him. 32. I forget the kid's name, the safety. He is a stud, an absolute stud. The kid is legit. I think that he should be in the conversation for Defensive Rookie of the Year, even over someone like Chase Young or Patrick Queen.
I got the Colts at 5. I almost put them at 4, but for the same reason for you. Phillip Rivers does look like he's getting into a groove. You saw Jonathan Taylor have probably his best game in the NFL last week against the Packers. I know it's the Packers run defense and they're a little questionable, but yeah, they can beat you in so many different ways. And I like this team going forward, especially with how their defense looks and plays.
So for me at number 6, I have the Rams for the reasons that you said and had them at 4. Plus, I think that Sean McVay has really taken his coaching back to that Super Bowl level that we saw. You know, I watched a couple Rams games early in the season, and even against the Bucs yesterday, he just looks like he's a step ahead of these defensive coaches and defensive coordinators that he's coaching against. I think that season last year has really opened his eyes that he can't just have his system and rely on his system to beat guys. He needs to outcoach guys and know what the other team is doing and game plan around that. But man, he is really in his groove. Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp look really nice. Those running backs that they've invested in, while they weren't necessarily on display against the Buccaneers, they have been on display in a couple of games. And it looks like Jared Goff is really getting into a rhythm now, and they're able to protect him better than they had last year. So I think the Rams are a scary team. I don't have them as high as you, but I have them at number 6.
Yeah, number 6, I got the Bills. I like the Bills here. They're still a scary team to me. Of course, like they're in the top 10. The problem with the Bills with me is they got to figure out their running game. I think it's been very inconsistent, and they've been leaning on the shoulder of Josh Allen's like passing game and his play all year. That they can figure out how to sustain a good running game and get their defense back to that elite level like it was last year and years previous, then I really like this team moving forward. So I got the Bills at 6 here.
I'm going to have the Bills at 7. I agree with you. Their running attack is a bit of a problem. Zach Moss has looked all right, but it's tough to rely on a rookie when you're trying to be a Super Bowl team. And you're right. The other thing is that secondary isn't as elite as it was last year. They need to figure out some things, especially up front, because against the run and in their pass rush, it has been nowhere near as good. It does seem like the Bills are starting to figure out some things on the defensive side of the football, but I'm going to have them at 7 mainly because Josh Allen in that passing attack can throw him at it any game, and Sean McDermott, Brian Dable, and the rest of that Bills staff really seems like they're a top tier group in the NFL. So coming into big games, I really think the Bills are a team that can show up in those big games, big playoff games, playoff potential games, any games of that nature. I really trust that staff.
Number 7, I got the Seahawks. Yeah, last week was a very good showing from the defense, something to build on, hopefully. But I can't put them as high as 7 yet because like I need to see more of it. Like was this just like one game they like figured out because they just played the Cardinals 2 weeks ago and maybe they had like a little word out, or are they finally figuring stuff out? Maybe, but I need to see a little more. But I mean, as long as you have Russell Wilson, at the end of the day, you're going to win a lot of ball games.
I'm surprised. I thought you would have had the Seahawks a little bit higher. I know you're a
I mean,
big
I was
Seahawks guy
looking at
usually.
it. I would. It's just that their defense has been horrendous for the last like month and a half, and if they have like just a couple more good showings in there, like I think I would have had the Seahawks higher. But nah, I like the Seahawks at 7.
I don't know, Lunas. What do
Try
you
to make
think?
it
You think the
spicy.
Seahawks are a top 5 team?
So I'm kind of leading Steed here. I probably have them 6 or 7 because ultimately, when the playoffs come, it's hard for me to bet against the team with the with the better quarterback. Like at the end of the day, it's tough to like bet against Russell Wilson unless he's playing like an A. Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes. But it's just their secondary. That's the part that worries me, and their pass rush. Obviously, you guys touched on Carlos Dunlap. I just need to see another week of it, like Steve said. Like they played great against Arizona, and I trust their offense if healthy, if they can get Carson back healthy. And I expect Russell Wilson. He's the second best quarterback in the NFL after Mahomes. It's just I don't know if I can put them in the top 5 yet. I probably would have them at like 6 or 7.
All right. Well, at number 8, this one shocked even me because I did not think I would have these guys at 8. But after that win against the Ravens last week and what they were able to do last season, I can't put them outside of the top 8. It's the Tennessee Titans. They've had their problems on defense, they've had their problems on offense, but my God, they are able to win big football games. They're able to show up for any game. Derrick Henry and their running attack just seems to get better as the season wears on and once the weather gets cold. This is a team that I just really like their physicality. I think that they can just show up. I really like their coaching staff with Vrabel. And that Ravens win was a statement win. They beat them last year in the playoffs, and they were able to beat them again. I really like the Titans, and I think that they're going to be a scary team heading into the playoffs.
This next team I put here just because I guess it's more of just a general consensus. I still don't truly believe in this team. I think they're a first round exit, really, depending on who, like how they get seeded in the NFC. But I got the Packers at 8.
Wow.
Dude, you see the Packers? You see the Packers last week in the first half against the Colts scheme, like the first scheme is just working. They're hitting on all cylinders, up 28-14 going in the second half, and then it just kind of like the defense, you see how like the defense is very fraud and they're not able to get anything going else on offense until like literally like the last 10 seconds where they kick that field goal. I had a chance to win the game, honestly. I had a guy open in the back of the end zone. I guess Rodgers just rather hit Devontae Adams. Matt Ryan wouldn't. But it's just I'm going to put the Packers here. They're still a top 3 team in the NFC.
Wow, the guy who's been calling them frauds all season, when it comes to ranking them in his power rankings, has them higher than I do.
The team that I think are more frauds than them, I don't even have in my top 10. And they beat this team. And they beat the Packers.
I'm gonna assume you have the Bucks there, which is my number 9 team, is the Bucks. I have them over the Packers. You know, the Bucks are a weird team. Obviously, they've had their struggles. They had a rough loss against the Rams just now, which I think that it looked a little bit worse than the scoreline said it was, with those ugly interceptions going deep from Brady. But at the end of the day, this is a Bucks team that if they get hot, and in a groove, this is a scary football team. I do think that up front they need to be better. They need to be better on the offensive line, giving Brady a little bit more time, making him a little bit more comfortable, and and developing more of a consistent running game, which they weren't able to have against the Rams. And it's just this team has too much talent to not have him in the top 10 and not have him at 9.
No, well, we're a Raiders podcast, so I'm putting the Raiders there. They beat Chiefs first time around. Should have beat the Chiefs last time around. You just whenever you give Patrick Mahomes a chance to win, you're going to lose. But a lot of people were telling that the Raiders were going to get blown out this game. Like it's just not going to be anything of a game. But the Raiders stuck in. They played it very well. Their offensive league. You saw Derek Carr literally play one of the best games of his career on Sunday night. I still really like this team going forward. And also, I have to be a little biased because it is a Raiders podcast. And let's just say, I think I'm more the true Raiders fan. Since do you have them in your top 10? I'm guessing this number 10
I have
is not
them
there.
one spot out of the top 10. I have the Packers
Wow.
at 10. This is really close between the Raiders, the Packers, and the Cardinals and the Ravens for me. These are all teams that I do like and I do think have a legitimate shot in the playoffs. The Raiders, I just think that their pass defense is too big of an issue. I think it's more of a glaring issue than, the Packers defense is, or, the Ravens offense is to the Ravens. I do think that the Raiders, while they've been having a really good season, and Derek Carr is looking like prime Derek Carr, he's really getting a grasp of the offense. Like we kind of said in the beginning of the season, while the Raiders are going to shock some people, I still think that they're almost 1 year away. They need a little bit more talent on their pass defense. Their pass rush is a little bit inconsistent, even though they have some good guys up front. Max Crosby's been really good. Arden Key's been really stepping up for this Raiders defense. Clelin Ferrell is developing, but it's just I wanted to put him in the top 10 really badly. I just can't put him above the Packers. The Packers have shown me too much good.
At number 10, I flip-flop with this a bunch, but I guess I just got to put it because I can't leave Brady out of the top 10. I'm putting the Bucks at 10. I still think this is a very fraudulent team.
I thought you said you
I
had him
don't
out of the
know.
top 10 just earlier.
Yeah, I had him in the top 10, and I had the Titans here at 10, and then I got to thinking, I was like, well, I can't leave Brady out of the top 10. Like, they're still a decent team. They're good. I just think they're a first round exit if they make the playoffs. If they keep on playing like they are, they might not. But
They are a weird
yeah, I'm gonna
team.
put the Bucks here.
The
I
Bucks,
don't
they've been
trust them.
beating up
There's
on
so
bad
many
teams.
mouths to feed. I don't like know really what's going on with them. Truly, it's like I feel like there's something like with the offense, like something's not meshing together with like Bruce Arians and like the players, like the play calling or something. It just doesn't. It just feels so stiff. It doesn't feel natural, like what we're used to seeing from a Tom Brady offense. What we see from the Saints. I mean, apparently Taysom Hill can go in there and
You know,
throw up like 300 total yards. But
what's an
I put the
interesting
Bucks
thing
at
I
10.
found with Tampa Bay?
What's that?
Uh, what is it? Well, the first comment I was gonna make, which is weird with the Bucks, I kind of almost trust their defense more than their offense in any given week. And the second point I was gonna make, I didn't know this. Assuming Brady keeps his statistical pace for the rest of the season, Bruce Arians might not be the quarterback guru everyone thinks he is. It'll be the fourth straight quarterback he's had who will have their career high in interceptions under him. Andrew Luck had 18, which is his career high, his last year with Arians. Carson Palmer had his career high. Jameis had 30, and this would be Brady's career high as he's on pace, I think, for 14 or 15.
Jameis had about
Well, this is
500
just an
of them.
offense that really likes to push the ball down the field. So,
Brady can't throw
and
deep for shit right now.
the other thing with Arians is that I just think that this Bucks team needs to try to establish the run a little bit better and a little bit more creatively. Their whole running game has always been really weird to me. I think that their stats have been a little bit inflated from these really long runs from Ronald Jones. But I agree with what Steve was saying. It seems like there's a little bit of a disconnect, a little bit of a, whatever it is. It just doesn't seem like a good flowing, everyone's really on the same page and having a good relationship. I think that it looked a lot better in the offseason than it is now and in practice and during the games. And yeah, I mean, you've seen it, Bruce Arians has been really tough on Brady. Just the other day he said, "Oh, well, we hit the deep balls in practice." There's just something seems a little bit off.
He's been really critical of Brady this year, like in a few press conferences,
I mean, he is
which has kind
supposed
of
to
been
be the
surprising.
GOAT.
I mean,
It's not
I'm just,
like
yeah, I guess it's just more like surprising that he's saying it like publicly. Like he shit on Brady a couple times,
I think he's trying to fire him up.
maybe. I was gonna say one thing that kind of. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I don't think you need to talk crap to Brady to fire him up. I think he gets pretty fired up on every given Sunday by himself, by kissing his kid.
Pretty much, that's like a secret weapon. I was gonna say one thing I was surprised about, which I didn't know, I guess was kind of ongoing with you guys. I'm surprised both of you are so low on Green Bay. I'm way higher on Green Bay than either of you.
It's the same story. Listen, I
was
got to give Steve credit where credit is due. It's the same damn story with Green Bay every year. They look unbeatable in like some halves and even some games, and then they have these lulls where they're not able to do anything, and they're able to get shut down by good defenses. And whether it's their defense getting exposed or their offense getting exposed, I rarely feel nowadays as if the Packers are a team that ever really puts it together every game. With Aaron Rodgers, and I think part of that is because they are carried by Aaron Rodgers a little bit. We saw it, this year they did nothing to really add any receiving talent or really any offensive talent around him. The
First two
defense, it
draft picks
looks a
have been
lot
stellar.
better. What's up?
Their first two draft picks have been stellar, dude.
Yeah.
Jordan Love and AJ Dillon are showing out.
playing ton of
And
snaps.
I agree with you. We are low on the Packers, but it just feels like it's another one of those years where this team is going to let Aaron Rodgers down. That's what I'm feeling. I think they have a chance to get far in the playoffs, and they can even make it to the Super Bowl this year now that there's no 49ers defense that's going to be in their way. But I got to see it to believe it with this team right now.
No, though. They'll easily win 11, even 12 games. Just looking at like the rest of their schedule, and that's just the kind of team they are. They will win games. It's just they're going to come down. I know Drew Brees is like I don't really know like the time frame on him. Like, is this Taysom Hill thing all going to work out? But if Packers had to play against the Saints in the playoffs, I think the Saints dismantle them. Like, just blow them out. Defense would take the offense out of the question, and then it'd just be game over. And I think the Bucs could beat them in the playoffs still. It's just they're just like you look at them and you're like, okay, that's a good team, but I'm just not sold on them. And I just think they're just like one of those fraud teams that every year it's just 10 plus wins, but when push comes to shove, they're not going to do anything.
You know, the Packers did beat the Saints in the regular season. I'm just stating that.
I mean, but like,
I'm just giving you shit.
Like,
the Saints defense looks
weeks?
a lot better now.
Yeah, I mean, the Saints defense just had 8 sacks and like Matt Ryan's worst game of his career. I'm just saying, like, yeah, Aaron Rodgers is probably better than Matt Ryan, but like, that was like the first 3 weeks. We're in full-fledged playoff mode now.